In this part of our course, we'll make this tourist flyer. The orientation of this project is landscape and the bleed limit is set on all 4 sides. This tells us that the flyer won't be connected with any other print. This flyer can also be printed on one or both sides of the paper. If you want to look at this project as a reference, open a file called 15_p. Go to File menu and click on New. Set the size to A4 and the page orientation to landscape. Set the units to inches and colour to CMYK. Resolution to 300 dpi and click OK. Up here on the property bar, we can change the page orientation. This icon right here will set one size for all pages. When it's active, every new page that we add to our document will have the exact same settings as the first page. If we want to modify the second page settings, we first have to click on the current page icon. Now we can change the page orientation and the size of this page. This way, we have 3 pages. One looks like this, one looks like this, and the last one is the same as the first one. Let's delete all extra pages. We now know how to modify each page separately. To delete a page, click on it with the right mouse button and choose the Delete Page option. Delete the third page. More information and page options can be found in the Page Setup window. Go to Layout and click on Page Setup. Here we can also set the bleed. We won't use this option in our course. It only inserts some extra guidelines to our document. It's not very good effect, so we'll make them ourselves. Of course, you can try it if you want to see how it looks. I just want to use this option as it's not that good. Go to the View menu, then Setup and click on Guideline Setup. Go to Presets section. Activate the Page Borders preset and click OK. Go to the View menu, then Snap to and click on Snap to Guidelines. Well, Snap to Objects option is active. Let's deactivate it. Go to View menu, then Snap to and click on Snap to Objects. We'll start our project by creating a rectangle. Switch to Rectangle tool and draw a rectangle. Press F2 and select the area to zoom. Now we'll revise some of the shortcuts we've learnt in our course. Shift and F4 fits the page onto the screen. Shift F2 fits the selected object on the screen. F3 zooms out. Now we'll introduce a new keyboard shortcut. Press F4, not Shift F4, just F4. This button will fit the objects on the screen. Well, let's try to make a little experiment. Press F3 to zoom out. Draw another object right here. Now, try all the shortcuts. Shift F4 shows the whole page, F3 zooms out, Shift and F2 fits the selected object on the screen. Now press only F4. As you can see, the program showed us all the objects in our document. Let's duplicate this figure and press F4. Now delete the first one and press F4. It can be a really useful shortcut. When we lost some of our objects in the document, we just press F4 and Corel will show us all objects in our document. Another shortcut we've learnt is F2. Just press F2 and select the area to zoom. Of course, we can do the same thing with the zoom tool. When we look at the descriptions of the icons placed on the property bar, we can see the same shortcuts that we've just used. When we press the right mouse button, we'll zoom out. Switch to white cursor, so that was our little revision from Corel keyboard shortcuts. Press Shift and F4, then Shift F2 and F3 to zoom out a little. Select the figure, go to Arrange menu and click on Convert to Curves. Now we'll convert the right line segment of the rectangle to curves. We can just select one node, but we don't want to bother with analysing which line will be converted to curves. So just select both nodes on the right. Now click on Convert to Curve icon. Click twice on this line segment to create a new node. Now move the node to the right or to the left. Why is this line bent? It's because we have converted this line segment to a curve. If we wouldn't do that, this line would be constructed out of a straight line. Click twice to add another node and change its position. Just created a nice waved line. Press Shift and F4. Don't worry, this side of our figure looks like that. It was constructed out of straight lines. To see the exact shape of the figure, we need to zoom in on the object. It depends from the computer screen. The further we go, the less detail we can see. Switch to Shape tool and select all nodes on the right side of our figure. Now move these nodes to the left by pressing the left arrow key. Let's now change the nudge value. First, switch to white cursor. Click on an empty space to deselect all figures. The nudge is now set to 0.01 inches. Let's change it to 5 inches. Well, 5 is too much. Change it to 0.5 inches. Remember to put a dot between these numbers, not a comma. Select all nodes on the right and move them. If the nudge distance is too big, deselect the figure and change it to a smaller value. Change the nudge distance to 0.2 inches. Switch to Shape tool, select the nodes and move them to the left. So that's how we can change it. Let's now learn how to change the nudge distance without deselecting the figure. Go to Tool menu and click on Options. Switch to Rulers section. Here we can change the nudge distance. Now we'll import our photos into the document. Switch to the white cursor. It's the safest tool when we work with photos. Go to the File menu and click on Import. Choose a random photo in which you want to import into the document. Once you've selected the photo, click on Import. Click once to place the photo in the document. When placing the photo, by clicking once, the photo will have its original size and resolution. Let's now learn how we can check parameters of this photo. Go to Bitmaps menu and click on Resample. As you can see, the Maintain Original Size option is deactivated. We can also deduce that from the size of our image. Let's now try to change the DPI of this picture. The image size is now bigger, but it doesn't mean that its quality is now better. One thing that will change is the resolution. Now our photo will have a bigger resolution. We can easily mistake the DPI value with the PPI. DPI, as you already know, is the amount of points on an inch. PPI is the value of pixels placed in 1 inch. When we're talking about graphic programs, we're using the PPI term. DPI is used when we talk about a wide range of printer hardware family. Computers, printers, plotters or scanners. That's why there's a problem with naming these things. So, the standard resolution is 300 DPI. Let's now activate the Maintain Original Size option. What will this option do? When we now change the DPI value, we'll not only change the resolution of our picture, but also its size. Let's change the vertical value to 72 DPI. So this is nothing else other than we've upscaled our picture. Maybe let's try it again, but this time we'll click OK instead of Cancel. Go to Bitmaps menu and click on Resample. Change the vertical value to 150 dpi. We already know that when we make the resolution bigger, the picture gets smaller. Go to Bitmaps menu and click on Resample. Let's now make the vertical resolution smaller. Change it to 34 dpi. Just remember to activate the Maintain Original Size option, otherwise we could only change the resolution of our photo. As you can see, the photo is bigger. So when we make the resolution smaller, the photo gets bigger, and when we make the resolution bigger, the photo gets smaller. So when we upscale the photo, the amount of pixels gets lower, but when we downscale the photo, the amount of pixels get bigger. We can also scale the photo in the Resample window. Just remember that to scale the photo by changing the DPI values, the Maintain Aspect Ratio option has to be active. If not, the changing of the DPI values won't change the size of the picture. It will change the amount of pixels in our photo. We'll analyse this more in Photoshop course. Let's now make one more experiment using this window. Change the DPI to standard value of 300 and activate the Maintain Original Size option. Check if everything is OK and then click OK. Now we can see the best possible printing size of this picture. Well, it's a little too small for our clipping mask. To fit this picture into the frame, we need to upscale it. Of course, it will lose its quality, but that's something we've got to live with if we want it to look good within the mask. Upscale the photo. Now, let's look at the picture's resolution. Go to Bitmaps menu and click on Resample. As you can see, our picture has 187 dpi resolution. Let's now make a power clip frame out of a figure and place the photo in it. Go to Effects menu, then Power Clip and click on Place Inside Frame. Now click our figure to place the photo in it. As you can see, the Power Clip toolbar appeared under our frame. Let's click on the first icon, Edit Power Clip. Thanks to this icon, we can go inside the frame and position the photo. Exit this mode by clicking on the icon under the photo. Let's try the next icon called Select Power Clips. We're not inside the frame, but the photo is selected. We can move the photo and scale it by dragging these circle points. Click outside the photo to exit this mode. Press F2 and select an area to zoom. Let's now try to scale our frame. As you can see, by doing it like this, we scale both the picture and the frame. Of course, it's possible to modify only the frame without changing the photo. Switch to Shape tool, select the nodes on the right and move them. So we can still edit and modify our frame even when there's a photo inside it. Press Shift and F4. Now we'll make the second figure. We'll make this figure differently. One of its sides will be a nice sinusoid. Draw a rectangle. Press Shift and F2 and then F3. Select the rectangle and convert it to curves. Switch to Shape tool and select both top nodes of the rectangle. Select on the Convert to Curve icon. Now we'll duplicate these nodes. Press the plus key on the numeric keypad. We can also do that by clicking on Add Nodes icon. So again, select the top nodes. Now click twice on the Add Nodes icon. So we've symmetrically added nodes to the top line segment. Don't worry about these new nodes here. This option adds nodes on one line segment from each selected node. In our case, there are two lines on the left from the selected points. Select the second node on this line segment. Press Shift and select the fourth node. In other words, select every second node. Now press the up arrow key and move the selected nodes upwards. As you can see, the nudge distance is pretty big. Let's change it. Switch to white cursor and click on an empty space to deselect the figure. The nudge is set to 0.2 inches. Let's change it to 0.05 inches. Now switch to Shape tool. Select these two nodes and try to move the nodes with the arrow keys. So that's how we can make a nice round sinusoid. Let's do it again. This way we'll remember it better. Draw a rectangle and convert it to curves. Select both top nodes and click on the Convert to Curve icon. Click twice on the Add Nodes icon to symmetrically add new nodes. Select the second node, hold Shift and select the fourth node. Now press the up arrow key until you decide that the sinusoid looks good. Now create the third figure in the same way. Of course, we could just duplicate the second figure, but then we wouldn't revise the whole process. Create a rectangle, convert it to curves, select two bottom nodes and click on Convert to Curve icon. Click twice on the Add Nodes icon. Click on the side to deselect nodes. Select the second node, hold Shift and then the fourth node. Let's now try to change the selected node's position with our mouse. Go to the View menu and click on Alignment Guides. If the alignment guides doesn't appear, just hold Ctrl and the nodes will move over a straight line. Let's move on. Make sure that alignment guides are active. Switch to Shape tool and try to move the node. As you can see, the alignment guides are shown only in some specific places, like the middle or the edge of the figure. Let's now try to select and move two nodes at the same time. The alignment guides aren't everywhere, they just show us some specific places in our document. Switch to the white cursor. When we now move the figure, the alignment guides will help us to move the object over a straight line. The guide direction lines appear and show us where and how we can move our figure. So this is how alignment guides work.